Hi guys, today I thought I would make a little video about protein and my experience with it, and starting out with a little bit of backstory about my dietary evolution. In 1973, at the age of 18, I quit eating meat and basically haven't eaten meat since then. Um, at the time, that was a pretty radical thing to do, and I only did it because I was a rebel. I was liking to be different and enjoying the fact that I wasn't killing animals anymore or being a part of that. Um, just resonated with that whole idea and started feeling really good doing that. I find the more active you are physically, the more you can tell the difference these dietary modifications are making. And I was racing motocross at the time. I was playing the drums very seriously. I was getting into backpacking, um, so I was really and running. So really feeling the difference. And people were telling me, "Dude, what are you doing? You're an athlete. You're gonna hurt yourself. You're not gonna get enough protein. You're not gonna get enough iron. You're gonna be anemic and emaciated and have no energy." And I said, "Well, that's not what I'm feeling." I feel amazing. And the next year, I backpacked the length of California on the Pacific Crest Trail. Well, 2 years later, backpacked the length of California on the Pacific Crest Trail and felt fantastic. And while I was passing through a town, Mammoth Lakes, getting my resupply box, I stopped in a health food store and picked up a book called Back to Eden, which was a 1940s, I think it was, 40s classic about vegetarianism, and read the scanned the chapter on meat and thought, yeah, right on, brother. That's what I'm feeling. Then he had a chapter about dairy, how bad dairy was for you, how man is the only animal that drinks another animal's milk, and it's very unnatural to do so. And the cow's milk is virtually all fat, where human milk is virtually all carbohydrate. And the mucus that comes out when you have a cold, that's where that's coming from. I'm like, oh, dairy too? My wonderful powdered cheddar cheese and my powdered milk that I have with my cereal every morning? Oh no, it's got to go? But I resonated with it, and I'm like, yeah, but it's just like the meat. Everybody says you have to have it, but it's one of the worst things you can do, maybe the worst thing. So there it is. Got to get rid of the dairy. So I did. I got rid of the dairy, and immediately felt the difference. Felt so much lighter and freer and happier, and just everything. Everything was better. And couple that with the quitting eating meat, being on the trail, it's like, oh my God, this is amazing. So flash forward, I got more and more into it, and dropped more and more foods, got rid of bread and pasta and all that stuff. And this was all in the 70s. And so by the time I got to the 80s, I was doing a lot of raw food, mostly raw, and juicing, doing colonics and enemas, and just cleansing, all that kind of stuff. And kind of going less and less protein all the time, just kind of, that's what was happening. And I found out soy's really bad. And when I got rid of the tofu and all that stuff, that made a big difference too, as did the bread. Everything I dropped, I just felt better. It was like dropping a weight, and just better and better as I went. And that has continued pretty much to this day, just feeling better and better because I'm on this kind of journey. I did a liquid diet for 22 years, which had a lot of nut milks, seed milks that I was making. That was working okay, except I had inflammation, which I shared in my first video. I had this inflammation that would happen in a foot or a knee or an ankle, and it was no fun when that would happen. That would sometimes go on for a week out of the blue, and then would fix itself. So it wasn't about the joint. It could happen in either side, either leg, either knee, either ankle. So as I shared, I got rid of nuts, seeds, beans, and grains. These are all seeds. And it was a book that convinced me to do so, called The Autoimmune Solution. And sure enough, that fixed it. After 20 years of being plagued with this off and on, now I was free of it. And so that's like no protein. Vegetables and fruit was what was left, because in the book the lady says, well, you have to eat something, so you have to start eating meat. She had been vegetarian for 14 years, or since she was age 14, and now she decided to start eating meat again, because you got to get your protein, and what else are you going to eat, just fruits and vegetables? My answer was yes, why not? Let me try this. And sure enough, it worked amazingly. So on nothing but fruits and vegetables for the last 3 years is the best I've ever felt. And if I could really bring back a lot more juicing as I was doing before, but I've been having a different lifestyle, been on the road a lot, traveling, and not able to juice like I once did. But that's what I found is, in a nutshell, the less protein you eat, the better you feel. We don't need very much. Matter of fact, human milk has the least protein of any mammal. That's crazy, huh? What we have in our milk is carbohydrate. If you look at like a pie graph of milk, cow's milk is virtually all fat. A little bit of protein, a little bit of carbohydrate. Human milk is virtually all carbohydrate, because it turns out carbohydrate is what you need to build the big brain. Fat is what you need to build the big body. So human milk is 3% protein. That's what the baby thrives on, 3% protein, the lowest of any mammal. Well, guess what? Fruit is 3% protein. A lot of vegetables are way more than that. But for me, fruits and vegetables in their almost raw form or juiced form has been the bomb. And it's so cool how that works. So all the heavy foods that we spend so much money on and spend so much of our environment on are taking us down. So there's a couple of really good documentaries, one called Game Changer, which really talks about all this. And I really love What the Health, is one of my favorite docs of all time. And in that one, they take a vegan's blood and drop live cancer cells into it, prostate cancer cells, and they die. We'll put them in a meat eater's blood, and they proliferate and grow. So food for thought. We're not carnivores, we're not omnivores, we're frugivores. We have a different digestive system than an animal that can tolerate meat. So something to think about. I wish you peace, and hope you experiment a little bit and see what works for you. Namaste.